Hello, you are listening to the Mets in the UK podcast, your home for Mets content in the UK. You can catch us every Tuesday on Spotify, YouTube, and all good podcast hosts. And you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, and X at Mets in the UK, or use the hashtag MITUK to get involved. Full podcast house this evening, joined by Joe, Toria, and Tracey. Joe, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good, thank you. I'm recovering from bank holiday and accidentally walking through a bog yesterday. All the normal stuff.
Okay.
As you do on a bank holiday weekend. All good. Tor, how are you doing?
I am good, thanks. I'm in a bit of a funny this evening, I think. I'm maybe just like delirious or something.
Oh.
Oh.
And Tracey, how are you doing, Tracey?
I'm fabulous, thank you. How are you, my dear?
I am good. Similarly, just I woke up this morning thinking it was Monday, and I'm grateful for the reminder that we had a pod to do this evening because I'd completely forgot. So thank you for that. Let's get started with the pod. It's been a busy week for the Mets. We picked things up last week where we played one game against the Twins. The Mets lost both their remaining games and the series against the Twins. First time the team has lost 2 in a row. Last team in all of MLB to do so. We saw Soto and Alonso hit some home runs. We also saw Hagenman making his first MLB start against the Twins, which was lovely, especially seeing his family, his dad living and dying on every pitch, which was a great moment to see. We then went on to play the Cardinals at home. Swept the series, 4-game series, that one. Vientos, Alonso, Lindor hitting some home runs. Don't want to jinx things, but the last time this happened, the last time the Mets swept the Cardinals in a 4-game series was April 1986.
When I bought this jersey.
It's a good omen. Last night we saw the Mets play the first game against Philly. Lindor hitting 2 home runs and Winker getting 1 for himself. Lindor's now hit back-to-back leadoff home runs. This is important because only Matsui and Granderson, Mets legends, have ever done this for the Mets. So over the last week, the Mets have played 7 games. They've gone 5-2 over that period, unbeaten in the last 5. We predicted 4-3 over the last week in last week's show, apart from Little Miss Optimism. The Mets are now tied for the best record in baseball, 16-7 to start the season, matching the records of the Dodgers and the Padres. Fantastic homestand. The players and staff commenting on the atmosphere at Citi Field, saying it's been like having a 10th man. It's been a pretty good week. What are our thoughts on the games? Tracey, I'll start with you.
I have loved being a Mets fan this week. It's been full of optimism and wonder, and I'm happy to be wrong with my predictions last week. Seeing Hageman's family, like you say, it was a lovely, lovely moment. His fiance's face when he recorded his first out was just the sweetest thing I've ever seen, I think. It's been great to see Lindor on fire, and even greater to hear the Citi Field Massive getting behind our boys, being that 10th man. That real home field advantage has been a huge advantage, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's definitely had an impact on the players in a positive way. You know, the boys definitely feeling that love from the fans. How about you, Joe? Have you caught any games over the last week?
Yeah, I've dipped in and out. I'm at that stage now where I'm like, I've really, really enjoying it, and I'm scared to enjoy it too much. I'm like,
Yeah.
It's like, what's the English guy they interviewed the other day that does the Saturday night TV? Gelbs was
John Oliver.
John Oliver. It's a bit like what he was saying. It's like, we're not used to having nice things. So I've loved every minute, but I don't want to get myself too carried away. But it's been awesome. And like, even when there was a bit of negativity around Soto and stuff like that, the crowd got behind him. And at the end of the day, he's got on base, we're winning, then jobs are good. And we can only get better. So that's a scary thing.
Yeah, and obviously it's worth mentioning with Soto, you know, he is having a typical April. There's nothing in the stats that make this particularly jump out and where we should be worried or concerned. He's just doing Soto things. And as you said, he's going to light it up eventually. And when he does, it's going to be fantastic to see. He has been getting on base. It has been a good start for him as a Met. Obviously, you know, we would like more. Who wouldn't? But he has made a good start. And I think a lot of the negativity tends to be from the other side of town.
It would have been sweet if he'd got that home run last night. That was given initially, wasn't it? I was like, oh.
Yeah.
It looked foul live, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say I didn't watch it live, but yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like at the time in play. I don't know how they gave it, but fab.
So how was it, Tor? How have all the games been? Because you're our night owl. You watch all the games live. So how has it been?
It's a good job we're all sitting down. I slept through one this week.
Bloody hell.
I know. Last Tuesday. Yeah, I slept through the whole thing. Didn't see any of it.
Terrible behaviour. Let us down.
It's disgraceful.
Let your side down.
I know, it's shocking behaviour. Now, I'm going to do like something I don't normally do, and I actually had a few lowlights this week. Not least, Harrison Bader breaking my heart 2 nights in a row. I'm glad that I wasn't awake to do that last Tuesday night, and I only had to suffer it like on repeat because it was horrible. If I'd have been awake at stupid o'clock watching him do that, I would have cried. So that was pretty tough. The extra inning loss on Wednesday was also like pretty devastating, especially because, you know, me and Mike to the last out, I was like, and we had that late comeback to even get it to extras. And I was like, and then we kind of we threw it away. Vientos's injury, sure we'll come to that, but that was obviously a bit of a downer. And we had Gelbs in the booth on Friday because Gary was having to see to the pup, which was also very sad. But on the plus side, there was so much positivity the rest of the week. Let's put the twin series to bed. Let's forget about that. We've talked about Hagman's debut. That was completely we were talking last week about Brandon Sproat or Urena coming up or Buteau out of the pen or what, you're like, none of it. Like, where's this guy come from? But that was lovely. In general, Acuna has continued to be very impressive. Beatty's heating up. Massive shout out to my Tyrone because he has been so productive this week. He's really picked it up both with the bat and defensively. He had that crazy catch on Sunday night against Jordan Walker in the 6th, right up against the wall. It's like absolute robbery. And then, that was Nimmo with that catch. Tyrone had the getting home on Lindor, orchestrating his run home. Exactly, when he was avoiding the tag. We had his hustle to first base last night. There was another run that he hustled home on. It was just Tyrone's like picking it up. I just mentioned the Nimmo catch. That was amazing as well. And I mentioned about Gelbs being in the booth. Like, his call of Lindor's walk-off the other night was electric. Really good job. So that was another highlight for me. And I know it's a little superficial, but, you know, I'm a girl. I notice these things. Lindor's hair, man, at the moment.
Love it. I
am loving it. It's just perfect. Absolutely perfect. And Trace, as you mentioned, just in general, the buzz coming from Citi Field, the attendance this week. So I just think, you know, like I said, put the Twins thing to bed. The rest of the week has just been incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't have put it better myself. It's worth mentioning as well, Steve Gelbs, it's not GK out, and we all get that, and the time is eventually going to come where that's going to need to change. But I think he did a pretty good job on commentary.
He did.
He's getting there with it, and it was it was a good broadcast by
It's
all
more
accounts.
natural now, isn't it? Because it was like you could tell it was stressing him in the beginning. It was quite forced, but now it was quite natural.
And let's not forget, under those circumstances, he got chucked into that. Like, he didn't know that was coming, so he wouldn't have had the time to prep and get ready for it and do the. I mean, obviously he'd have done some research for his sideline stuff anyway, but he was kind of really thrown into that. So I think he did great.
Yeah, he's definitely relaxed into it since he used to do spring training like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Absolutely. So moving on to the news side of things over the last week, not a great deal has happened off the field, thankfully. We've had the news that Francisco Lindor is the captain of the Puerto Rico team for the 2026 World Baseball Classic. So well done to Francisco, truly deserving of that honor. Jose S. is now officially on the IL. Azakar was called up to replace him, and we had the news yesterday. Stern says it's 8 to 10 weeks that Jose S is likely to be out with a fracture. Obviously, we wish him speedy recovery now that's been confirmed. Frankie Montas is 2 weeks away from throwing a bullpen session, suggests an early June return, according to Anthony DiComo. Mark Vientos, as we mentioned, is day-to-day with groin discomfort, according to Mendy. That's not really gone any further since that's happened. A few more stats and nice bits from the last week. Juan Soto has safely reached base in 20 of the 22 games he's played as a Met. He's now just 11 walks away from passing Mickey Mantle for the most walks by any player in MLB history before turning 27, which is just a crazy statistic.
Wow.
Counts. The Mets have thrown 4 shutouts so far this season. Last season, they didn't get their first shutout until the 92nd game. They ended up with 9 over the season. So the fact they've thrown 4 already this season, hats off to the Jeremy Hefner and all the bullpen team for their work. Truly incredible things. And the Mets are also the first team in the modern era since 1901 to have their starting pitchers allow fewer than 15 runs and no homers in their first 11 home games of a season. The Mets have only allowed 13 runs in those 11 games, which again, just real credit to all the work.
Who saw that coming? Did we? We didn't see that coming, did we?
No, that was not on my Mets bingo card for this year.
No, those stats are awesome.
Yeah, and again, just shows the truly great work, and credit to David Stearns as well for getting the players in that he has. We've made some less than glamorous signings. I think we can all agree on that. But the work in turning these pitchers around and getting the absolute best out of them is truly remarkable. Any thoughts on the last week, Trace?
All hail the pitching lab. It is for real, and I saw something on Twitter, I think it was earlier today, that said, don't think about the names that were signed, but think about the abilities, and they have more than proven themselves. Yes, we've had a couple of injuries, but Vientos' catch that preempted the injury was David Wright-esque. I loved that catch. It was over the shoulder, very cool. Absolutely loved it.
Obviously, we hope Mark's okay and we'll see him back in the lineup sometime soon. Joe, any thoughts?
No, I'm still I was reading those stats and I was looking at the prep earlier and I was like, these are crazy, which again is making me feel slightly uncomfortable, but that's fine. And also from what Tor said earlier about Tyrone Taylor, all this hustling and stuff this week, the last week or so, I find it even more impressive considering he had that whole umpire thing, with the umpire getting hit in the face, and that can affect people in different ways, and it could have affected him badly, but it's kind of thankfully got over it and it cleared his head and he's had an awesome week. So yeah, some good came of that, although we hope the ump is fine. Not heard any updates, but yeah.
How about you, Tor? Any thoughts on the last week in the news?
Yeah, I mean, just a couple of things, I guess. There was another stat that I saw right after Senga's last start. He got to 18.2 innings without giving up a run, which was at the time the longest in the major, just about. So that just shows again how strong our pitching's been. He's been great. They've all been wonderful. We talked a bit about David Stearns. I think I made my my love of David Twitter official last night. There was a clip of him saying, how much he enjoyed going to Shea as a child and booing Rock, and I was just like, that's done me. That's done me. I mean, what's not to love? I love the man. So, and everything that he's done. And I think I've said this to you guys before. It's not just the signings that he's made and the vision that he has. It's like you don't have to panic when he's in front of the media. Like you can trust him in front of the camera, and you also know that he's going to be transparent. He's going to say what he can say. He doesn't duck out of anything. The press conferences that he gives, when he goes into the booths, when he's giving interviews and stuff, he always comes across as really smart and very very transparent and genuine. I love him.
I love him.
Yeah.
He's my latest love. That's it.
Yeah, it's a great way to finish the news. Before we move into your questions and a look to the week ahead, as always, if you've enjoyed this, why not give it a like, a thumbs up, a comment, a share, a repost, all of that good stuff. Help us reach more people with this amazing Mets content across the UK, Europe, and beyond. We do appreciate all of your comments. Shout out to 242 last week who got involved in our discussion. We said about which Mets would you like to see playing another sport, and he suggested Pete as a wrestler, which not a bad shout.
I can see that.
So thanks for that.
I'm envisioning a big polar bear finishing move, squeezing something.
Yeah,
that's what they do.
Yeah.
And we could see that. That's
Just like that, Joe.
Whilst we're also doing the shout outs, pains me to do this because of the rivalry, but shout out to Dave, aka UK Phillies. He is running the London Marathon in full Phillies gear this weekend. He is raising money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which is a fantastic cause. Fair play to you, Dave, for doing it. 26 plus miles. Don't fancy that myself, but credit to you for doing that. So shout out to Dave for doing that for a good cause. I believe he's got links and stuff if you want to donate on the socials, but don't spend too long there because it's a Phillies page. Boom.
we will share his link. We're not that mean. And if you happen to be there, even if you're a Mets fan, give him a cheer. He's doing it for a good cause, even if he is in Phillies gear.
You could do a little cheer and then a little boo.
Yeah, that's acceptable.
Well, let's go Mets. He'll know.
Yeah, all right, let's go. Just let's go Mets. Yeah, good shout.
Okay, it's fine. But good luck, Dave.
Yeah.
Yes. We wish you all well. So let's jump into the questions. We've had a few. We put out the question on socials earlier this week. Stuart's got in touch with another question. He has said, given Pete's amazing early season form at bat, the possibility that he's leaving, he has got that opt-out at the end of this year. Would you give him a long-term contract at the end of this season? It's a good question, Stuart. Tor, what's your thoughts?
I think it will be down to Pete. I think he'll want to try free agency again. I think he'll want to put himself out in the market. I still don't think the Mets will give him big bucks at this stage, even if he has a monster year. I think they'll make him a reasonable offer. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they'll pay over the odds. So I hope that they make him a good, solid offer that's enough to keep him. But don't be surprised if it doesn't happen immediately and he goes and tests the market for a bit first.
So you think he's going to opt out?
Yes.
Okay. Joe, what's your thoughts?
There's that thing, isn't it? We've spoken about before. He's got that dual motivation. He wants to perform for us this year in the team, but then he's also doing it for himself, isn't he? Because at the end of the day, he wants more options on the table, more money on the table. So it's a tough one. But I don't know if he has a monster year. I don't know how that would look, but you never know. But then it's still a risk. So
And Vladdy's still lurking around the corner.
Still a bit of a risk. So, yeah.
It's interesting with Vlad being off the market, what that does to the first base. Sort of.
Yeah, but is he ever really off the market?
Towar's like, get him.
He signed a contract extension for 14 years. So.
He did. But 500 million.
Okay.
I think I'd rather have Pete spend that.
Yeah, I think if he stays healthy, which is a big thing, and keeps up the heat, then yeah, offer him. I don't know how many years though, but give him an offer. Worst he can do is say no. He won't get as many as 14 years. He is older than Vlad. Vlad's 26. He is 30. So I reckon 9-year deal
Oh,
at most.
I don't think he can that long.
I think he missed out on the big money 2 years ago
Exactly.
when he was originally offered the deal by the Mets. And I don't think they're going to match what they offered 2 years ago.
but we can revel in the fact that he's absolutely smashing it right now.
Oh,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Which I'm loving.
Yeah, smashing it. It's a tough one because you've got to take the sentiment out of it, and you've got to look at the business side of things.
Which David Stearns is very good at, isn't he?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, and whilst he's likely to break the home run record this year based on his current pace, I think even though that is the case, you do need to be a bit sensible. I would be really hesitant to give him anything more than 5 years, and I think although he's doing well this year, I just feel like the decline at the back end of that contract, if you're not careful, we've seen it with many other first basemen before where they fall off a cliff and you're sort of stuck using them as a DH, and even then they're not great. So
Would you
I'm gonna
frame
say
it as
no.
an incentivized contract?
Yeah.
So if you get X and Y, then you get more money.
It's a possibility.
Tracey, you get in that room. Get in that room.
Yeah, hell yeah. I did it last time.
I'm going to stick with no to answer Stuart's question. I'm going to say no, just because I feel like the business side of things might win out on this. But hey, let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think he should be rewarded a contract? What would you give him? Years, money, length, all that stuff. What would you do there?
I think we can all agree we'd like him to stay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I'll give him some Greg's sausage rolls as part of the deal.
Yeah, that'll be it.
That's the sweetener that he needs.
It could be.
We'll send them some proper Cadbury chocolate.
All that.
Do
The
it.
real
Send
Cadbury,
Toria some
yeah.
crumpets again.
Orange minions.
Yeah, I'll take some crumpets. That'll do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorted then.
Okay. Question number 2 came from a UK Mets fan on Blue Sky asking about Diaz. Is it just him, or do we all panic every time he comes into pitch? Great question. Joe, do you panic when Diaz comes into pitch?
Yes, but I love it.
Okay. Tracey?
Yes, and I hate it. And my husband says he can't watch the first 5 pitches that he throws.
That's the way to do it, to be fair. That's a good method.
Because otherwise, it's like, if you watch the first 5, then you lose all faith. Because he seems to pitch himself into and back out of trouble. A bit like Senga does in the first inning that he pitches. And it's not doing my blood pressure any good, I'm telling you.
Tor, what about you?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, I say I panic. We're kind of getting used to it now, right? So we always expect it now. We're like, right, it's gonna be a dodgy, first batter at least, and then he'll get it together. So I don't panic as much as I did. I get more frustrated because obviously if I've stayed awake and it's late and I'm like, dude, come on, finish. But I don't panic as much as I used to, but then I am the optimistic one. So I generally trust that he's going to be okay.
Yeah, I too panic as well. It does worry me. To be honest, I don't mind in the sense that there's some people that when Brandon runs to first, and some people like the way that he runs to first. I like it when Diaz hits the pop fly. Tracy's just done it if you're watching the video. I like it when Diaz gets a pop fly and he just points at the sky. Like no one knows where the baseball is other than Diaz. He just points straight at the sky like, guys, I found it. It's up here. And it's the excitement of like pointing at the sky. I really like it. I find it really funny. So I don't mind when he pitches into a jam and then we see him pointing at the sky. It's all good as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, yeah, we'd like it if he had the stuff a little bit more under control. I can't help but feel this is a knock-on effect of his knee injury that's messed up his mechanics, because he's not throwing as hard. He's not doing Diaz things from a couple of years ago. I just get the feeling that maybe he's still trying to work through post-injury sort of side of things. But it's a great question nonetheless. Thanks for asking, UK Mets fan. Let us know down below as well. Do you panic at Diaz, or is anyone out there actually feeling calm and relaxed when that?
If anyone says that, they're lying.
Yeah.
And then final one. This one's from me because I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on this one. Over the last week, we've seen a lot of controversy on Mets social media about the wave, and some people, and just sighing to, but I had to go there. Some people get very irate about the wave, and the band The Wave crew have been quite vocal over the last week. What are your thoughts on the wave? I'd just like to get your thoughts. We'll start with you, Tor, because you're the first one to go. Oh, go on.
Can I plead the fifth? There's just no winning this one. That's a no, Trace. Thanks. People can't see Trace like shaking her head at me.
No, I'm saying that there is no winning, like you say.
There is no win. So, okay, I am ambivalent to the wave. I don't mind if people want to do it. I do agree. Sometimes people will say it can be a distraction. I'm not sure it is, to be fair. But I would prefer if you avoid any hint of that. So do it. When it's not going to be a distraction. But I couldn't care less. If you want to do a wave, do a wave. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But don't have a go at those people that want to do it. It's just a bit of fun, guys. Lighten up. Come on. Ugh.
Joe, what about you? I can see.
Do you know what happens? Do you know what happens when a wave comes around? Because this happened when I went to watch the Lionesses in Bristol the other day. The wave's coming around. My niece was getting really excited. It comes around, I just sit there like this. Just moaning about the wave. I'm not doing it.
Wow.
I just think it's a bit, I don't know. I get really arsy about it. I don't shout at people for doing it, but I always say it's so disrespectful. Stop waving. Watch the game. Especially if it's a good one. So I'm a really grumpy anti-waver. Just to come out and tell everyone that.
What about you, Trace?
I'm with Tor on this. There's bigger things to worry about in the world. If people are having fun and it's not hurting anyone, let them get on with it.
Are you calling me the fun police?
Yes.
Yes.
What else? To cross my arms again.
What are your thoughts, Tom?
Yeah, I'm kind of similar to, I'm not a wave fan. I'm not going to join in on it. At the same time, I'm not going to police other fans and tell them what to do. If you want to do the wave,
You'll leave that to
go
Joe.
for it.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I think it's the timing of it. If you're spanking a team 10-1 or something and you want to do the wave in the 8th inning and you're miles ahead, great. That's a great time to do it. But when it's you're 3-2 down and it's the 7th inning, it's maybe not the time to do the wave. And I feel like maybe that's the thing that's getting people irate. It's the timing of the wave rather than the wave itself.
There's been some early waves, I've noticed. Quite early waves.
But each their own. If people want to do it, by all means, wave away. But let us know your thoughts down below. What do you think about the wave? Obviously, you're never going to ban it because there'll always be someone that starts it off. But let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Okay, all that leaves us is the week ahead. 6 games for the Mets this week. We've got 2 more against the Phillies with tomorrow's game being UK friendly. There's then a 4-game series on the road at the Nationals. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday are all UK friendly games.
We're spoiled.
6 games over the next week. What are our thoughts, predictions for the week ahead? Tracey, let's start with you.
I think we are going to split the rest of the series with the Phillies, so 1 win each, and then sweep the Nats.
Ooh, that's a 5-1 prediction for Tracey.
Yep.
What about you, Joe?
I agree with Tracey. I think we might give up one against the Phils. Just let them have one if we have to. And then I'm not quite the Nats. Again, they're a bit Marlinsy to me. Sometimes they're really good and sometimes they're terrible. So I'm thinking 3 or 4. So we might drop a couple of games, but we're still going to win series. So yeah.
Okay, Tor.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go 4-2 as well. I think I'd love for us to. I'd love for us to sweep the Phillies, especially with the vibe that we've got at home. I can't see us not dropping one against the Nats. They are like the Marlins. They just need swatting.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if we swept the Phillies and then split the series with the Nationals, because that would be a very Mets thing to do. I think 4-2 is a fair shout for the week ahead, but we shall see. It should be a good week in the world of the Mets. Looking forward to some UK-friendly baseball. Make sure you are tuning in and catching all of those games in the week ahead. So all that leaves us to say is thank you once again for listening. As always, like, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. You know what to do right now. All that leaves me to say is thank you to Toria, Tracey, and Joe for joining this evening. Don't forget, click the link for Dave's Make-A-Wish running London Marathon thing. And all that leaves us to say is let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets.